In the Wheel of Time, the Aes Sedai of the White Tower are divided into 7 official Ajahs, each with its own distinct purpose, philosophy, and specialization. However, a secret 8th Ajah lurks in the shadows, working against the others in service of the Dark One. Each Ajah has its strengths and weaknesses, but some are undeniably more powerful, influential, and essential than others. In this ranking, we will evaluate them based on 4 major criteria: their philosophy and mission, their usefulness both within the White Tower and in the world, the types of women who join them and how that affects their influence, and finally, their moral standing, whether they serve the light, the dark, or something in between. Now, let's begin with the weakest and most despised Ajah of them all. 8. The Black Ajah. The Black Ajah exists in secret, hiding among the other 7 Ajahs while working in the shadows to undermine the White Tower, assassinate its leaders, and spread chaos throughout the world. Its members have forsaken the 3 oaths which all Aes Sedai swear upon the one power to serve the Dark One, seeking to unravel the very fabric of reality itself. This Ajah's influence is dangerous, as no one knows exactly how many of them exist. Their ability to infiltrate and manipulate the other Ajahs has made the White Tower paranoid and divided, preventing it from fully uniting against the Shadow. The Black Ajah is completely ruthless, often forcing new recruits to murder a fellow Aes Sedai as proof of their loyalty. Many of its members are sociopaths and power-hungry traitors, willing to betray even their closest allies if it benefits them. Despite their ability to spread fear and destruction, the Black Ajah ultimately ranks at the very bottom of this list because their entire existence is defined by treachery. Their philosophy is pure evil, and their usefulness is only to the Shadow. They serve no purpose except to destroy, which makes them a cancer within the White Tower rather than a true force of power. 7. The Red Ajah. The Red Ajah is dedicated to tracking down male channelers and gentling them, severing their ability to touch the one power before they can go mad from the taint on Sidon. This mission was once a necessary evil, as the breaking of the world had proven how dangerous male channelers could be. However, over time, the Reds became blinded by their own mission, seeing all men as threats rather than individuals. The Red Ajah is one of the most feared and hated Ajahs, both by the world and within the White Tower itself. They take no orders, rarely associate with men, and are known for their cold, rigid, and often arrogant personalities. Many Reds believe they are the only true protectors of the world, making them insular and distrusted by other Ajahs. Even worse, because of their rigid worldview, many Reds have been easily corrupted by the Black Ajah, turning them into unwitting pawns of the Shadow. While their mission was once vital, their methods have caused more harm than good, leading to the persecution of innocent men who had committed no crime other than being born with the ability to channel. Their refusal to adapt to a changing world, especially after the taint on Sidon is cleansed, makes them one of the least useful Ajahs in the long run. Because of their lack of flexibility, arrogance, and cruelty, they rank just above the Black Ajah but remain near the bottom. 6. The Green Ajah. The Green Ajah, also known as the Battle Ajah, is unique among the 7 official Ajahs of the White Tower. Unlike other factions that focus on diplomacy, healing, or knowledge, the Greens embrace battle, always readying themselves for the last battle, the prophesied war between the forces of light and shadow. They see themselves as the champions of the battlefield, the warriors of the White Tower, and the defenders of humanity in the ultimate fight against the Dark One. One of the defining traits of the Green Ajah is their strong bond with warders. Unlike other Aes Sedai, who typically bond only one warder, Green Sisters often bond multiple warders, forming what is essentially a small, personal army. This not only makes them more formidable in combat, but also allows them to maintain closer ties to the world outside the tower, as their warders serve as scouts, informants, and protectors. In contrast to the Red Ajah, which rejects all male relationships, the Greens have the most open and balanced relationship with men, sometimes even marrying their warders. Despite their unquestionable bravery and martial prowess, the Green Ajah has a fundamental weakness that prevents it from ranking higher on this list: its usefulness is limited to times of war. While their combat abilities make them indispensable during large-scale conflicts, war is not a constant state, and during times of relative peace, the Greens have far less influence than other Ajahs. This problem is compounded by the fact that while the Green Ajah is exceptional in battle, other Ajahs also contribute to warfare when needed. The Red Ajah, for example, has been known to lead hunts against male channelers, while the Blue Ajah uses political maneuvering and espionage to undermine enemies before wars even begin. Even individual members of the Brown Ajah have uncovered lost battle techniques and military strategies through their studies of history. Because of this, the Green Ajah's role, while critical in times of open war, is not as unique as it may initially seem. Another issue that limits the Green Ajah's power is that their focus on battle often comes at the expense of broader concerns. Unlike the Gray Ajah, which prevents wars through diplomacy, or the Yellow Ajah, which heals the wounded after conflicts, the Greens tend to see war as inevitable rather than something to be avoided or mitigated. This narrow focus on fighting means that they often neglect governance, healing, diplomacy, and political intrigue, which are equally essential in shaping the world. That being said, when war does arrive, no Ajah is more fearsome, prepared, or formidable than the Green Ajah. Their role is absolutely vital when conflicts break out, and their loyalty to the cause of the light is unquestionable. However, their limited influence outside of warfare, combined with the fact that other Ajahs can contribute to battle in different ways, keeps them in the lower half of this ranking. 5. The Brown Ajah. The Brown Ajah is the intellectual backbone of the White Tower, dedicated entirely to the pursuit of knowledge, history, and discovery. Their mission is to preserve ancient texts, study lost magic, and uncover historical secrets that could change the course of history. Unlike the Blue Ajah, which actively seeks to influence world events, or the Gray Ajah, which navigates political diplomacy, the Browns prefer to take a long-term approach to knowledge, believing that understanding the past is the key to shaping the future. The importance of the Brown Ajah cannot be overstated. In a world where so much knowledge has been lost due to war, destruction, and the passage of time, the Browns are the keepers of civilization's wisdom. They work tirelessly to recover ancient writings, rediscover forgotten spells, and study powerful artifacts that might otherwise remain unknown. Without their work, many of the Tower's greatest discoveries, both magical and political, would never have been possible. One of the most famous contributions of the Brown Ajah is their study of unreal, essay-angreal, and terangreal objects that enhance or manipulate the One Power. These items have played critical roles in history, and without the Browns' relentless research, many of them would remain buried in forgotten ruins. Some of the most powerful channelers in history have only been able to perform great feats because of ancient knowledge preserved by the Browns. However, despite their vast intellectual contributions, the Brown Ajah suffers from several weaknesses that prevent them from ranking higher on this list. One of the biggest issues is that they are often so focused on knowledge itself that they forget about its application. Many Brown sisters bury themselves in books, becoming so absorbed in their studies that they neglect real-world events. While their discoveries can be incredibly important, there is often a disconnect between theory and practice, which makes them less directly influential than some of the other Ajahs. Another issue is that the Browns are not particularly involved in politics or governance. Unlike the Blues, who shape history through political influence, or the Grays, who actively negotiate peace and alliances, the Browns tend to stay in the background, quietly recording events rather than participating in them. This lack of direct action means that, while they hold immense knowledge, they are not always in a position to wield power. Furthermore, their isolation from the world makes them vulnerable in times of crisis. The Black Ajah, for example, thrives on secrecy and deception, and the Browns, who are often too distracted by their research to notice political undercurrents, can sometimes overlook dangers that other Ajahs would recognize. Their lack of awareness regarding Tower politics means that they rarely produce Merlins, as their detachment from leadership makes them less suited to the cutthroat world of Tower governance. Despite these flaws, the Brown Ajah remains one of the most vital factions within the White Tower. Their commitment to preserving knowledge, their ability to rediscover lost magic, and their dedication to intellectual progress make them absolutely indispensable. Without them, the tower would be operating blindly, lacking the historical and magical context needed to navigate the world's challenges. The Brown Ajah is a paradox at once detached from political power yet holding the keys to civilization's greatest secrets. Their intellectual dominance, combined with their priceless contributions to history and magic, ensures that they secure a solid mid-tier ranking, sitting comfortably at number 5. 4. The Blue Ajah. The Blue Ajah is one of the most politically active factions within the White Tower, dedicated to justice, righteous causes, and maneuvering world events from behind the scenes. While other Ajahs focus on internal matters, the Blues extend their influence far beyond the tower's walls, making them a major force across the entire continent of Randland. What truly sets the Blue Ajah apart is its unparalleled intelligence network, known as the Eyes and Ears. This vast web of spies, informants, and secret operatives gathers intelligence from every kingdom, noble house, and hidden corner of the world. Few Ajahs, or even noble rulers, can match the Blues when it comes to knowing what's happening before it happens. Because of this, they have been able to shift the course of history, sometimes without the rest of the world even realizing it. This deep-rooted involvement in world affairs has also made the Blues one of the most successful Ajahs in producing Emerlins, with many of the most influential leaders of the White Tower emerging from their ranks. Emerlins from the Blue Ajah are often seen as reformers, visionaries, and highly intelligent strategists, capable of navigating both the internal politics of the Tower and the broader power struggles among rulers and nations. However, while their dedication to causes makes them powerful, it also introduces a major flaw: fanaticism. Many Blues are so obsessed with their chosen missions that they become blind to other perspectives, sometimes making decisions that are too extreme, short-sighted, or dangerous. Their deep involvement in espionage and political intrigue also means they can be prone to deception and manipulation, which makes their leadership risky at times. Despite these flaws, the Blue Ajah's intelligence network, political influence, and ability to shape global events make them one of the most powerful forces in the Wheel of Time. Their control over information, combined with their strategic planning, allows them to pull the strings behind kings and queens, securing them a top-tier ranking on this list. 3. The White Ajah. The White Ajah stands apart from all others because they are completely devoted to logic, philosophy, and intellectual reasoning. While every other Ajah has some kind of external mission, whether it be battle, diplomacy, or espionage, the Whites focus inward, attempting to find ultimate truth through pure rationality. In a world where personal ambition, emotion, and bias constantly shape decisions, the Whites serve as an anchor of objectivity. They do not fight for causes like the Blues, nor do they seek power like the Reds or Greys. Instead, they take a step back from conflicts, analyzing problems from a purely logical perspective. This makes them one of the least corruptible Ajahs in the White Tower, as they cannot be easily manipulated by emotion or ideology. Their importance to the Tower's stability cannot be overstated. In times of crisis, when the Aes Sedai are divided by political schemes, personal grudges, or external pressures, the White Ajah provides calm, unbiased reasoning that prevents disastrous decisions. They are often the voices of reason in Emerlin councils, ensuring that Tower leadership is not ruled by paranoia or short-sighted ambition. Another key advantage of the White Ajah is that they have the lowest concentration of Black Ajah members. Since the Black Ajah thrives on deception, manipulation, and emotional weakness, the Whites who are trained to think purely in logical terms are much harder to corrupt or recruit into the Shadows' ranks. However, their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. While their logic is invaluable, their detachment from emotions and real-world affairs often makes them ineffective leaders. Many White sisters are so focused on intellectual pursuits that they fail to take action when needed, leading other Aes Sedai to view them as cold, distant, or impractical. Despite this flaw, the White Ajah remains one of the most important factions within the White Tower. Their commitment to reason, neutrality, and truth-seeking keeps the Tower from collapsing into self-destructive infighting, ensuring that the Aes Sedai remain a unified force rather than a fractured order. Their lack of corruption, ability to prevent rash decision-making, and influence on Tower leadership place them in the top 3 of this ranking. 2. The Grey Ajah. The Grey Ajah is one of the most essential forces in both the White Tower and the wider world, specializing in diplomacy, negotiation, and conflict resolution. In a world dominated by feudal kingdoms, political intrigue, and shifting alliances, the Greys serve as ambassadors, mediators, and power brokers, ensuring that wars never begin or, if they do, that they end quickly. What makes the Greys so powerful is that they have their hands in every major political event across the continent. While the Blues might influence events from the shadows, the Greys operate openly, using their deep knowledge of law, governance, and diplomacy to secure peace treaties, broker trade agreements, and settle disputes between rulers. Their ability to prevent full-scale war is one of the strongest forms of power imaginable, as even the most powerful military forces are meaningless if war never starts in the first place. Beyond just preventing wars, the Greys also play a critical role in keeping the White Tower stable. The Ajahs within the tower often have conflicting interests, and without the diplomatic skills of the Greys, internal rivalries could escalate into destructive factionalism. They are one of the only Ajahs that actively work to unify the others, ensuring that the tower remains a strong and functional institution. Because of their direct influence over world events, the Grey Ajah is one of the most powerful forces in the Wheel of Time, earning them the second highest position in this ranking. 1. The Yellow Ajah. The Yellow Ajah is the most fundamentally necessary Ajah in existence. While other Ajahs influence war, politics, and knowledge, the Yellows directly save lives, making them the most irreplaceable force in the White Tower. Their primary mission is healing, which extends far beyond simple battlefield medicine. Yellows are responsible for curing plagues, healing rulers, and even developing new forms of magical medicine. Without them, entire nations would collapse under the weight of sickness and war casualties, making them the silent backbone of society. Beyond traditional healing, the Yellows have made some of the greatest discoveries in history, including their role in cleansing Sidin, which ended thousands of years of male channelers being driven insane. Their healing abilities are not just practical, they are world-changing. Unlike other Ajahs, whose influence depends on politics or warfare, the Yellows are always needed. War never stops injuries from happening, and sickness never stops spreading. Because of this, their power is constant and undeniable, making them the single most indispensable Ajah in the Wheel of Time. For their unmatched contributions to civilization, their life-saving abilities, and their role in shaping world history, the Yellow Ajah stands as the most powerful faction of the White Tower.